Hello again. I am here to go over week one and also just a syllabus review. I do have two screens going on here, so I apologize if it sometimes looks like I am not looking at you. I'm looking over at my other screen. So this week we are reading chapter 12 of your Public Health Nursing Population-Centered Healthcare in the Community text. Upon completing that reading, you will complete the online epidemiology quiz. Please just note that there is no time limit for you to complete the quiz once you start it, and you can use your textbook as a reference and a resource, but you are only permitted to complete that quiz one time. So that grade that you receive at the end of the quiz will be the grade that goes into the grade book. I just want to talk briefly about epidemiology in the school health system and how that kind of impacts the community. I would say at the most basic level, I have utilized epidemiology in the school whenever we have instances of pertussis. And of course, back during the pandemic, we used epidemiology a lot. While head lice is not necessarily a disease, I do use certain epidemiology principles when looking at that and trying to help prevent the spread. So even with head lice, you use it a little bit. For the most part, I do look at some things that impact the student or the students that are ill. Maybe if we can find a tie with gender or race or socioeconomic status. But mostly I am looking at place and time factors to determine who else may be at risk for whatever illness is going on. But I think that the COVID-19 pandemic really gives us a great example of how we had to identify disease spread within our school setting, but we also had to alert the community to help reduce community-based spread. So for instance, we quickly learned, well, let me say that after the shutdown and that summer, my school district opted to go back to school in person in the fall of 2020. And we did mask, that was required, but we really did kind of continue to do things like band and chorus events, and a lot of sporting things also happen. So we quickly learned that our band and choral concerts, even with students wearing masks, even with the different instrument coverings in place, that they were still like really hot spots for disease spreading. So administrators had to take a step back and reevaluate how these events happened. We also used epidemiology to help prevent spread from school out into the community. So the principals and myself spent lots of time, both during school hours and out of school hours, with going through and identifying when we were alerted of a case, going through and identifying who were close contacts by looking at who was in what classes and how close were they sitting, and even down to the bus seating structures, looking at bus videos because we found that kids weren't staying in their seats. So making sure that we were alerting the appropriate parents so that they could kind of have their child hunker down and not necessarily be out in the community and quarantine like was recommended to try to help prevent the spread. This was especially important during holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, when we knew that some families were, coming together. We didn't want that spread to happen. So just kind of a basic thought as to how that might look in the school setting and in our community. So that's week one. I also want to take a minute to review parts of a syllabus. So bear with me as I share my screen with you. All right. So we are looking at our syllabus. As you can see, all my contact information is there at the top. Again, please don't hesitate to email me, text me, call me, that sort of a thing. I believe that you are all capable of reading, so we are going to kind of breeze right down through all of this, all of the outcomes and objectives. So our instruction and teaching strategies will be the reading, the online discussions. You have some papers, you have your quiz. I will post a weekly video. Please do note that our class begins on Monday at midnight and ends on the following Sunday, just before midnight. All of your student posts should be made, your initial ones, by Wednesday, and then responses by Sunday. There are videos through the course if you need help with understanding Moodle. You have your grading scale there, but here is kind of the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about. All right, so you do have 3 forum posts that will need to be completed. Your original post should be a minimum of 800 words, and they are due by 23:59 on Wednesdays, the weeks you have them, and responses should have a minimum of 600 words and are due by 23:59 on Saturday. Please do engage with your peers, ask questions, maybe respectfully point out where you disagree or want to respectfully challenge a thought that someone has. I really want us to have some stimulating conversations throughout the course. You have your single quiz, which is the epidemiology one, and we're checking that off the books here this first week. Then you do have one paper that is due. As you can see, it is going to be submitted in like 3 separate chunks. However, it is just 1 grade. So the actual paper will not be graded until you submit here in December. This project builds on itself. I will review each of the pieces of the paper that you submit on the 17th and the 24th respectively, and I will provide you with feedback that you can then include for that final paper that is due on December the 1st. And then you also have a state health financing assignment that is due near the end of the course on the 8th. All right, let me scroll down here. Again, just the course requirements and netiquette. Late papers will result in a grade reduction of 10% per day, and that is per the syllabus. All right, if we scroll down here, here is a breakdown of week by week what we're going to be looking at doing. All right, here is your rubric for the forums. And I just want to point out, please refer to these rubrics in the syllabus. I will be following them in order to fairly grade your assignments. So if you have questions about something, please don't hesitate to contact me via email or text or phone call. I'm always happy to set up a Zoom session if you think that would be beneficial for whatever your question is. But do refer to this. And then there is also a rubric for the paper that is here. And then the health financing assessment, there is also a rubric for that. So let me just stop sharing this. Okay. Finally, if you are unable to meet a deadline, be it an assignment or a discussion board, please communicate early with me so that we can work together to determine when assignments can be turned in. I know life happens. I have been, I feel like, in school for a really long time between my master's and then different postmaster's courses. So I fully understand that life happens and that you have many roles outside of being a student. So let's just have open dialogue about that. I have fully opened the course so that you can work ahead if you so choose. Again, I know there's many things going on in life, and sometimes it's nice just to be able to get a head start on something and kind of get those things checked off of your list. So the course is open. I do know that the discussion posts are not, like the questions are not posted yet. That is because I currently do not have access to the textbook for this course. So I am unable to write appropriate prompts for you to respond to. As soon as I have the textbook, I will immediately begin working on those so that they can be posted and you have a better idea of what you're doing for those weeks with those discussion boards. All right. I think that sums everything up. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I am here to help, and I hope you have a wonderful week.